I read 13 books in the month of January, and we're gonna talk about them because you know on this channel we love to chat books. So grab yourself a snack, a cup of tea, and let's talk about all the books I read in the month of January. The first part of January started out strong with a reread, and that is People We Meet on Vacation. I wanted to reread this before the movie came out. Loved the movie, but it is very different from the book. So if you're going into it with like, it's gotta be like the book, it's not. So lower that expectation and just take it for what it is. It's a very cute, fun, rom-com kind of movie. I absolutely love the book, and I was like, I wonder if my opinion will change on this book now that I've read all of her books, and like maybe this one isn't my favorite. This one is still my favorite. I love Alex and Poppy. I love their story. Had so much fun with it. Still a 5-star read for me. Absolutely loved it. Had such a good time. It was the perfect way to start off 2026. So the next book that I read is The Villa by Rachel Hawkins. This was our book club book for the month, and I'm gonna be really honest with you. I think I need to reread this book because one, sometimes the audiobook can really take you out of the story, and I definitely felt like that was happening for me. But also this month, I took my parents' business phone for them, and so I was answering a lot of calls. I was getting interrupted while listening to my audiobook, whereas normally I'll put on an audiobook and I'll clean or do something for hours straight. But this was like very, I'd have to pause and answer the phone, and so I felt like I didn't get to enjoy this one as much. And like my book club friends all really liked it, and I was just like, it was okay. But honestly, I think that I need to give this one another chance because I just wasn't able to follow it as well, I feel like, and I was just kind of like trying to get through it. But I also think it was like the time with everything going on. It was like my first week of taking the phones and trying to juggle everything, and that was a lot, and I just wasn't paying as much attention to this book as I should have been. But also I didn't care for the narration in this book, so I think next time I attempt to read this, it's gonna be like an actual physical copy of it and not listening to it. So I gave this 3 stars. It wasn't bad, and I was able to follow some of it, but I just felt like I did not give it my full attention like I should have, so I need to reread it. Then I went on to read Dear Debbie by Frida McFadden. I actually got an advanced reader's copy of this, so I was able to read it before it officially released. It released on the 27th of January, I think, and I was able to read it before then. So I read this, I think over the course of like 2 days. I think I gave it 4 stars. It wasn't my favorite Frida book. It had a different feel to it, but I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed the twist, and I just had a good time. I basically rate on vibes, and if I had a good time with it and I was entertained, it's gonna get 4 or 5 stars from me. It was good. If you like Frida, you'll probably enjoy this book, and that's really all I have to say about it. So I also read Bluebird Gold by Devotee Perry. I read this for an online book club that I'm part of. It is Delaney Smith's Patreon book club. If you've never heard of her, you need to stop what you're doing right now and go search her up on YouTube. I love her channel so much. I get so excited when she posts a new video, and I love being part of her book club. I think it's so much fun. So anyway, we read this book for book club this month, and I have to say, this was not my favorite. This was my first romantic suspense, and I loved the suspense mystery side of it. I was not sold on the romance. I feel like the male main character just came off as possessive instead of protective, and there's a fine line there, and I feel like the line was crossed, and it's not a bad book, and I don't think he was supposed to come off that way, but there were definitely moments where stuff was said or he thought it in his head where I was just like, I don't like you, I can't support this romance. Overall, it wasn't bad, and I grew to kind of accept their romance, but it just wasn't my favorite. But I am excited to read more romantic suspense books, and I wouldn't say this is a bad book. I still gave it 3 stars. I still enjoyed it. It was still entertaining. I just wish the romance had been a little bit more believable for me. And so I don't know. I hate saying anything negative about books, okay? And like people's creative projects that they've put out into the world. I don't want to say anything negative about them. I just, for me personally, didn't love the romance side of things. But the actual book was still pretty good. I still enjoyed it, had a good time. I finally jumped into the Chestnut Spring series, and I started with Flawless. That's book number 1 in the series. I know everybody says they don't really love this book. Like, I feel like most people would say this book is not that great, but the series as a whole is really great, so you have to keep going. I actually did really enjoy this. I enjoyed the characters and the family, and I'm so excited to just continue on in the series and get to know more of the characters. But this one was fun. It's about a bull rider, so that was an interesting, you know, something that I haven't read about. But I actually, when I was younger, I would watch a lot of bull riding with my grandparents, so that was cool because I kind of already knew what was going on with those scenes, you know? Anyway, all that to say, I really enjoyed this. I think I gave it, let me check Goodreads. I gave it 4 stars. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I see why people love Chestnut Springs. I see why people love the Eaton family. I see why people love them. I'm excited to get to the next book, which I will be reading in February. This next book, I think may have been my favorite read of the month. And you're gonna think I'm crazy. There's been so many mixed reviews on this book. Some people absolutely love it. Some people absolutely hate it. I feel like part of the reason why people are hating it is because it's a bit controversial. The author and just some of the media that's gone on in recent years with this author, I feel like people love to hate her. I've only read 2 of her books. This is my second book I've read from her, but I loved this book, and it is Woman Down by Colleen Hoover. I never thought I'd be a Colleen Hoover fan. I read Verity. When I first read Verity, I remember not liking it. As time has gone on, I still think about that book. I'm so excited for the movie, so I'm like, okay, it was a good book. It had some questionable content, but it actually was a very good book. It was very like on the edge of your seat, what's gonna happen? And to this day, I still think about it and I think like what actually was happening. So that's how I know I really enjoyed a book, because I'm still thinking about it almost 2 years later. But this book, let me tell you guys, I was like, okay, it's her newest thriller book, her first thriller since Verity. Let me pick it up and read it. Okay. And it was on Kindle Unlimited. So I was like, I'm just gonna try it. Just gonna try it. I loved this book, you guys. And there's still questionable content in this book. There's still like, I'm like, why did you do that? Why did you think that was a good choice? However, throughout the book, I'm trying to figure out what is happening. And I know a lot of people are like, it wasn't very thrilling. I guess it was more suspenseful maybe, where you didn't know what was going on, and like it wasn't like, I don't know how to describe this book other than I absolutely loved it. I'm still thinking about it. I really want like another book or a bonus chapter or something, because the way that it left off, I'm like, I need to know what happens next. Okay, so Colleen Hoover, I need you to write a bonus chapter, to do something, because I need to know what's happening. Next up, I read The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez. It was on Kindle Unlimited. However, I think starting February 1st, they removed it from Kindle Unlimited, and now her Part of Your World series is on Kindle Unlimited. I really enjoyed this book. I really love Abby Jimenez's writing. I like how she tackles hard topics, but does it in a lighthearted way. However, there was something that happened in this book that I did not know was going to happen, and is a big trigger for my OCD. So I didn't love that, because specifically January is my hardest month, and especially revolving around this theme with my OCD. And I don't want to give anything away in the book, but definitely check your trigger warnings on this one. But like for me, that was like the main trigger, and there's a reason why January, it's more in my mind in January than any other month. And I read it and I was like, oh my gosh, I did not know that was gonna happen. And so while I did enjoy this book, if I had known, I would not have read it at the time that I did, because it was very triggering with my OCD and anxiety around that certain topic. So like I said, check your trigger warnings. I do think it's really good. It was still a fun Abby Jimenez book, but there was just a thing that happened in this book that was a little triggering. Also, if you read the synopsis for the second book in this series, it actually spoils what happens. So don't go do that. If you're gonna read them in order, and don't read the synopsis of the second book, because then it'll spoil what's gonna happen in the first book. Anyway, it was still a good book. If you like Abby Jimenez, you like harder, deeper, more emotional topics with some lightheartedness, this is a good book. I just wish I would not have read it in January when I was already struggling with this topic. I listened to Queen of Shadows this month. I'm so torn. I'm so torn on Throne of Glass and if I should continue the series, because I'm just not loving it as much. First off, the romance in this gives me the creeps. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but I'm not fully rooting for this couple. Like I said, I don't want to spoil anything, but I don't know. I heard so many people say that this is the book that once you read this, you will be invested, you will be hooked in the Throne of Glass series. And I'm just like, I'm still not. I still prefer ACOTAR over this. What I think it is I think I'm only a fan of fantasy if there's romance in there. And while this does have some romance, it's not the main plot of the story. And like I said, the relationship between these two characters, I'm just creeped out by. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure that I'm feeling it. However, I have heard that there are other characters and other like couples in the next book I think it is, or the next couple of books that are way better than this romance. So I don't know. I just don't know how I feel about this. I gave it 3 stars. It wasn't terrible, but I don't know that I'm a Throne of Glass girl. I hate to say it, but like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm a Throne of Glass girl. For sure, I'm going to be finishing the series. I'm already too invested to not finish it. I feel like it would be like, it would suck to not be invested, not finish it, but I just don't know that I love it as much. Like, I would absolutely pick ACOTAR over Throne of Glass. Maybe the last 3 books will make me change my mind, but like right now, it's not looking so promising there. I read The Situationship, which is a short story. I think it's kind of like a bonus chapter of Just for the Summer, and it's by Abby Jimenez. So I read this one just because I had a goal of a certain number of books that I needed to read in January, and so short stories were helping me out. While I did do a lot of like full books in January, I also had a couple short ones here and there to kind of like get through to get my goal, and that is totally 100% okay. So anyway, this is The Situationship. This is about, is her name Maddie? I think this is about Maddie is Emma's friend in Just for the Summer. So this is like her story, and I think it was also Doug he was from Just for the Summer, but he's originally from Part of Your World. I think that's who it was about. And then the pig, Kevin Bacon, makes an appearance, which is so funny. So anyway, this is just a cute little story, cute little fluffy extra chapter. So that was fun. I read My Husband's Wife, and let me tell you, this was so twisty, so like, what is happening? This may have been my second favorite read because I'm still convinced that Woman Down is my favorite read of the month, but My Husband's Wife was so twisty, turny, crazy. I was like, what is happening? And then the way it like all came together, I was like, my mind is blown. My mind is blown. It will be one of those that I remember for a while and I just keep talking about because I loved it so much. I actually ordered the physical copy with my book of the month this month. It just hasn't shown up yet, but I do, it's on its way, so I will have the physical copy of this. It was insane. It was insane. I loved it so good. If you can pick it up and read it, I highly recommend. I also read All Roads Lead Here, which is a bonus chapter of Part of Your World. This is about, I just reread Part of Your World and I cannot think of her name for the life of me. It was Daniel and Alexis. This is about, I believe it's about Alexis's brother. So in Part of Your World, you find out her brother has been like in a different country helping. He's like a doctor and he's like helping other patients and whatever in another country. And this is kind of like the story of how he meets his love interest, which you learn more about in Part of Your World. It was cute. It was just like a little short bonus chapter for that, but it was still fun to read. And the only way you can get your hands on this is if you sign up for Abby Jimenez's like newsletter. They send it in her newsletter. And so I was like, yeah, let's check it out. I want to read it. So I had fun, but the whole time I was reading it, I was like, I don't even know who these characters are. And it wasn't until I did a reread of Part of Your World, because it is the book club book for February, that I was like, oh yeah, that's who that is. So I would refresh your memory on Part of Your World before you read this. I listened to Dead of Winter, and let me tell you, this was a little gory, a little crazy. I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the twist. Yeah, it was a good one to listen to while there's snow on the ground because you felt like you were kind of in that setting. It was also pretty crazy. But you know, like if they made a movie of this, I would totally watch it. I don't know what that says about me, but I would still watch it. All right, and then the last book that I read that I wrapped up January with was Accidentally Yours by Christina Lauren. This is one of the Amazon short stories that they have on like Kindle Unlimited. And again, it was just a quick, like, I think it had 90 pages or so book that just helped me get my reading goal, but also it was just cute, fluffy, perfect for like Valentine's Day vibes. So highly recommend if you want like a cute little fluffy rom-com. Christina Lauren does a great, like they do a great job with their books with that. So go check them out. But yeah, those are the 13 books that I read / listened to in the month of January. I had such a good time reading, although January felt like the longest month ever, but I had a good time reading. The reading vibes were there and I was feeling it. So yeah, that is the first month of the year wrap up. We did it. We hit our goal of 13 books, and now it's time to move on into January. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you read this month. What was your like top book of the month? And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.